He's been a part of WTMA's powerful morning lineup for just a year and a half. Now, Charlie James is a household name. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with him one-on-one. Charlie!
Quintin!
It is so good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy.
I appreciate this.
I'm glad to do it. Glad to do it. We see each other on the street all the time, and it's finally get to sit down and talk to each other. I like that.
Yes,
it's great.
Speaking of which, we see each other, as you said, in downtown Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
You're living in a magnificent home here, downtown Charleston.
Yeah, we rented an apartment here downtown about 3 weeks ago. My wife has lived all over the world. She's been a world traveler since college, and she's lived in big cities. She lived in Paris, and she lived over in Ireland for a long time, and in London. And we were over in Mount Pleasant, and we loved Mount Pleasant. We thought it was great. But she said, I just miss that city vibe. Mm. And she said, I guess it was about a year ago, she said, let's start looking at getting a place downtown. So we looked around, found this place, and absolutely love it.
Because you get to, you have a lot of accessibility down here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I live down here as well.
Yeah, it's such a walkable city.
Yes.
Once you're down here on the peninsula, and everything is at your disposal. I mean, we can walk up to Marion Square. We can walk up. We got a couple of little great restaurants here in the neighborhood that we like to go to, and it's great. Whereas over in Mount Pleasant, it's more of a commuter area. Mm. You got to get in that car and you got to drive. But here we can walk, and it's good for the waistline.
Let's go back to Mount Pleasant, because as you know, last night the town council basically said no to temporary apartment moratorium.
Yeah.
When you think of that, what goes through your mind, Charlie?
It's Mount Pleasant, the peninsula, really all of Charleston right now has a problem that a lot of communities in South Carolina would love to have, is that everybody wants to get here. But the problem is with affordable housing, and how do you actually balance the two? I mean, we've got, 47 people a day moving into the area, and our roads and our infrastructure just can't take care of it. Right now in Mount Pleasant, they've got so many of their schools are full. So now they're going to have to start looking at, you're talking about 10,000 more people over the next couple of years.
Yes.
That's a huge amount. Where are you going to put those kids? Right. Where are those cars going to drive? What are they going to do about Highway 41?
Exactly.
I think right now they're putting the horse before the cart. Mm. They're trying to get all of this density packed into an area which is only 47 square miles.
Right.
The fourth largest community or city in South Carolina is only 47 square miles. Mm. So we're trying to pack as many people in there as possible, and it's a very desirable place, but what are you going to do about 41? 17, they just did a widening project on that a couple of years ago. That's already obsolete.
Right.
I mean, the flyover they've got there, it's still crowded. So we've got to get some really good, stable minds in there. Not that they're unstable over on the town council, but we got to get some really good answers, and I think we need to reach out to other cities that have experienced this kind of a problem and say, look, how'd you handle it? But we've got to get the infrastructure taken care of, or we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
In Mount Pleasant, Mayor Linda Page and the police chief actually had answers to the Port Authority traffic, which clogged up traffic down in Horne for a couple of days.
Right. It was rough. I mean, 526 was just a parking lot for a long time, but it looks like they may have some of that problem fixed out. I know I got to talk to the outsource director from the Port Authority, and he said that they had a little glitch in the software, as you can imagine once you start implementing a new program.
Right.
But it looks like at least now they've got it. They're working towards getting it better.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Let's go back to June 22nd.
Oh my.
Mr. James goes to Washington.
Yes. Got a call, I guess it was back February or March, from the organization called FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform.
Right.
And they said, we're having a radio row here in the Phoenix Hotel in downtown Washington, right there across from Union Station. Would you like to come join us? And I said, yeah, that sounds nice. And they said, we'll pay for everything. And I said, yes, I would absolutely like to do that. So we went up there and we got to hear the most amazing stories about people who are truly being affected by immigration. And the things that we don't deal with here. We got to talk with the Davises from the Davis Ranch in Arizona.
Right.
And they have seen over the years a change in the illegal immigrant population that just come through their ranch.
Right.
It used to be the stories that we hear about, the families that are coming here looking for a better life,
Right.
the families that are trying to make their way. Now we're seeing people from the cartel moving drugs through their ranch. They're moving human trafficking going on through their ranch. Now Fred Davis has to go through every night before they go to bed. He goes room to room with his rifle to make sure that every room is clear before they go to bed. It's a frightening proposition. We got to talk to a lot of the Border Patrol
Right.
officers down there. I didn't know that they only check about 2% of the cars, of the traffic that actually goes through. And here's another thing. I was shocked at this.
Okay.
7 out of every 10 people that they stop at the border
Right.
that are illegal immigrants, they release. But they release them here in the United States to go along their way. They aren't fingerprinted, they aren't ID'd, they aren't vetted, there's no background check. It's merely a deterrent. And they know that. And so that's why it's so hard to stop right now. It was eye-opening to get down there and actually talk to the people. Talk to one man whose son was shot right in front of his house.
Wow.
By illegal immigrants as a gang ritual, an initiation. And this man was, you can certainly imagine the nightmare story that he had to tell. It was heartbreaking.
And speaking of which, as you know, that is the big issue, one of the big issues in this election,
Right, yeah.
between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
When you look at that, what sticks out in your mind?
What sticks out in my mind is the things that Donald Trump is proposing are the same things that Bill Clinton proposed, the same things that Hillary Clinton proposed. They both proposed a barrier of sorts. Maybe they didn't call it a wall, maybe they called it a fence, but certainly the idea that we have to have some sort of barrier between this country and Mexico is one that they were touting just a few years ago. And then all of a sudden when Donald Trump comes out, all of a sudden he's a racist. And I don't think race had a lot to do with it. I think securing the borders is something that we have to do as a nation.
Okay.
Nobody at that conference, nobody, not a single person I talked to, wanted to eliminate immigration. Everybody said we need legal immigration in this country, and we need to make sure that we have some sort of a process where these people can come in,
Right.
and it doesn't take 20 years. Good guy I talked to not long ago, Eric Corcoran,
Okay.
trying to come over from Ireland. He's been trying to become an American citizen for almost 20 years.
Wow.
20 years. It shouldn't be that long.
Right.
We've got good people waiting to get into this country, good hardworking people that want to come here and share in American values. They don't want to change this country. They want to come here and be a part of the system and a part of the process. That's what, when people say this country was built on immigration, they're right, it was.
Yes.
But it was people coming here trying to be a part of the American dream, not coming here trying to make it just like where they came from.
Describe to me the following in one word: William Cogswell versus Russell Garrard.
That was one word.
Well, go
I'm
for
not
it.
good with one
Oh,
word.
go for it.
Interesting, I would say that was it. I think Cogswell is going to be a fine representative here in the 110. Russell Garrard has, mounted several campaigns. Local elections were very interesting
Yes.
this go around because I think a lot of people now are so much more interested in the political process. Said when Donald Trump announced that he was running for president, I said, listen, you may not like him, you may not vote for him, but you're going to have to talk about him. And it's really gotten people more interested in politics. And these are the races, Quintin. These are the races that really affect us on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
A lot of the things they do in Washington, like Congressman Sanford is with the New Balance shoes and all of that, that's not going to affect you and me on a day-to-day basis. But getting our roads fixed,
Right.
getting our infrastructure taken care of, these are the people that are going to be dealing with that. And what is so sad is we see such a low voter turnout when it comes to local elections.
That's what happened
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
That's right. What was it, 7% maybe
That's right.
at the most?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Congressman Mark Sanford, let's talk about the race between him and Jenny Horne.
I thought, I like Jenny. I think she's a very nice woman. I think she is very capable. But when you saw them together
Right.
in that PBS
Oh,
debate
yes, right.
Down in Beaufort, there's a certain amount of polish that she will get. I'm totally convinced that in a couple of years, Jenny Horne will be a polished politician, and she'll be able to stand up to somebody like Mark Sanford and really lay out her platform and what she wants to see. But I just think she did not have that polish this time. We're going to hear a lot more from Jenny Horne.
Sure.
Sandy Sin,
Right.
same thing. What an amazing campaign she ran for District 41.
Right.
I mean, this was almost a national level campaign that we saw. Yes. I don't know who her campaign manager was, but this he knows what he's doing. Or girl, either one, doesn't matter. They know what they're doing.
Wow.
So I was very impressed with Sandy Sin.
And let's talk about Senator Marlin Kinsler versus Robert Ford. Obviously, Kinsler had a strong backing,
Right.
and Robert Ford really didn't have that.
Right. Well, I don't know a whole lot of people. I like Marlin Kinsler.
Okay.
I really do. I mean, how can you not?
Right.
I mean, the guy's just a great guy.
Yes.
We do not agree on a lot of the policies.
Okay.
But that's okay. You don't have to agree. But I like him as a person.
Right? Yeah.
So he's just. I don't know how Robert Ford had an uphill battle.
Yes.
You know, having to leave office and all of that. Once that stain is on you, it's hard to get it off.
Yes.
And I don't care how polished you are. To beat somebody like Marlin Kinsler, that would be pretty tough.
And a lot of people, from what I heard on the streets, basically said that Ford didn't give people time to really digest what happened to him.
Right. Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. I mean, a lot of people were saying, here's the thing. Because Kinsler is such a dynamic personality, and he is.
Yes.
When he talks, he doesn't talk. He preaches.
Right.
He preaches. I saw him at the Hillary Clinton rally,
Right.
and the guy owned the room. It's hard to overcome that. You're going to need more than just one campaign cycle to come in and do anything against Marlin Kinsler.
Right.
He's the total package.
Yeah.
As far as the Democrats are concerned. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on a national stage.
And that's what people are talking about, even governor of South Carolina.
Right, yeah.
Let's talk about Senator Lee Bright. That was a shocker for a lot of people.
That was a shocker. I mean, they thought that it wasn't a good year for incumbents. It really wasn't. Especially when Nikki Haley was backing his opponent. So she hasn't had the best track record as far as backing folks in this election either. But Lee Bright losing the campaign, I'm not real sure how much some of the high-profile bills that he's put forth helped him. Because sometimes people put forth these bills and they'll say, well, this is just a bill, to get the conversation going. I think sometimes people get a little bit tired of that. And they go, we want actual action. So I'm not real sure if he helped himself a lot during that the whole bathroom bill that was going on. I think that may have hurt him.
And let's go back local and let's talk about District 7 for Charleston County Council. It's now Brantley Moody versus Ruth Jordan. And Brantley, from a lot of people, thought, he just came out of nowhere and just won that.
Right, he did come out of nowhere and win that. But again, you never know how the voting population is going to react during a particular election cycle. So, but again, these are the races where low voter turnout. I mean, you have to wonder how much people are really doing their due diligence to find out who they want to be voting for in a certain campaign. And I'm not sure if that's what happened on this case, but you never know. I mean, we've got a lot of uninformed people going to the polls.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Well, you came to Charleston in 2010 from
Yes.
Augusta. When you look back at 2010 to now, being that you're from Augusta and you're here in Charleston, who is Charlie James these days?
Oh my gosh. I had been so many different people since I got here. I actually came here from Columbia.
Okay.
I started radio in Augusta about 26 years ago. Did about 12 years in Columbia and at a news talk station there and a country station. And came down here, started out at the country station. That didn't work out all that well. So got the opportunity to come to WTMA just about, a year and a half ago. Right at a year and a half ago. And the change between then and now. I came to Charleston for a job. And I had no idea how much this town would immediately take me in.
Yes.
And I would just love And that's what a lot of people say. Once you get that cluff mud in your nostrils, it doesn't come out.
Right.
So I've gone through a lot of incarnations. I was completely happy. Had a little 1-bedroom apartment over in Mount Pleasant off 17. Happy as I could be. Then I meet Sheila down in, she's from Savannah, my wife, and we got engaged and needed a bigger apartment, so we moved to a bigger place in Mount Pleasant. And then, like I said, we just moved down here downtown. So it's been a whirlwind. You know, day to day, things don't seem to change all that much.
Right.
But like you just said, you look back over the 5 years and go, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Everything has changed.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes,
I love it, though. I love it here.
That is so good to hear. Well, Charlie James, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you want to go play Pokemon Go?
We can go to Marion's
That
Spirit right
sounds
here.
good. Quintin, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.